Welcome to the Healers Café, the number one show for medical practitioners and holistic healers to have heart to heart conversations about their day to day lives while sharing their expertise for improving your health and wellness. Welcome to the Healers Cafe. And today I have with me Janet McConnell, and she practices strength-based fitness training and wellness coaching. And she really focuses on empowering individuals to embrace what is called healthy aging. Now, there's lots of other things. You're a certified personal fitness trainer, a speaker, you do all kinds of things, but I really wanted to focus on your experience and what actually brought you to doing this with passion.
Well, thank you, Menno. I appreciate and thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. I have to say that when I started my journey on healthy aging and healthy longevity, I didn't know that was the journey I was on because I was still in my 40s and I thought I was pretty healthy and I wasn't because I went to my doctor for an annual checkup and all of my labs came back and they were abysmal. I had really bad numbers on blood pressure, triglycerides, cholesterol. I was significantly overweight and he said to me, "What's going on, Janet? You're on your way to early heart disease." And I thought,
Mhm,
I am too young to be that old. Something in me
mhm,
just screeched to a halt like record scratch. And I sat there stunned. And then he began to write out prescriptions for blood pressure medication and, things for my cholesterol and this little stack of slips to take to the pharmacy. And I just said, "Stop." I said, "Wait a minute. Do you mean that the next step is just to go to drugs? What about giving my body a chance? What about that?" Because I
mhm,
was sitting there listening to him and I knew that what he was telling me was serious. But my first thought was, all I've been doing is leading a high-powered, stressful career and traveling all over the country and jet lagged and sleep deprived and eating whatever was available and staying up late for late dinners, VIP dinners and things. And it was not conducive. But all through my 30s, early 40s, it was still young enough. I had that youthful resiliency that kind
mhm,
of forgave me for some bad habits. But here I was at like 46 or 47 years old, and it caught up with me. So that
mhm,
was a big shock. My doctor is somebody who's known me for a while, and so I had the ability to sort of dialogue about it. He wasn't just like, "Oh, you're doing what I say." And
mhm,
so I said, "Give me 6 months.
mhm,
I need to try this." And he said, "Oh, everybody says stuff like that." He didn't believe me, but he just said, "Listen, I know you keep your word. I'll cut you some slack. You come back. We're gonna make the appointment right now, and you better come back in 6 months, and we're gonna take these tests again." And I said, "If those tests come back that way again, then I will take the prescriptions."
no,
Deal. And then I went out to my car and just sat and cried because I realized I had no idea how I was going to
mhm,
meet this bargain. I had no
mhm,
idea. I made a deal and I had no plan. So I just hired a trainer and started exercising because that's the one thing I really wasn't doing regularly and began to get into shape and
mhm,
worked out really hard 3 days a week. And it was first thing in the morning, 5 a.m. So it was a real shocker for my
mhm,
body. But it was the one time I could work out when everybody else in the world was sleeping. And I knew that
mhm,
nobody would get in my way and I'd be able to do it.
mhm,
So I just worked along in silence with this trainer. I didn't talk about it, just did it. And 6 months later, I had lost 25 or 30 pounds just from exercising. I hadn't changed my diet at all. And I was still a little fluffy. I wasn't super lean or anything, but way healthier just because of dropping that extra weight. And so I went back to the doctor and my labs checked out okay. And he said, all right, you got it. You got to keep going now. If you stop, you're going to be back where you were. So I did. I kept going and just got more and more in shape and got into diet and made sure that my nutrition matched what I was doing with my body. And pretty soon I was very fit and I decided to become a personal fitness trainer because I was inspiring everyone around me. Well,
Yeah.
now I find myself 20 years later, I'm just a year and a half away from turning 70. And
Wow.
have to say that taking care of your body in a serious and loving way is one
Mhm.
of the best ways you can buy insurance for yourself to enjoy the last trimester of your life.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because it does creep up, right? You hear people saying, oh, well, it's normal. My knees creak. And then when I get up a chair, I do, like it's hard work. And, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be that way.
Doesn't have to be. And it's funny because we do have certain ideas before we're old. We have certain ideas about what it's like because of the people around us, our family members who are our genetic birthright. We can see how they age. And then society tells us, well, when you get old, fill in the blank. And so it can lead to some beliefs that some of it's true. I mean, it does affect how much stamina you have. You may have to rest, take a little nap in the middle of the day. You do get a little arthritis. And I have news for you, even elite athletes get arthritis. It
Mhm.
happens from using your body and having that inflammation that can set in. But if you have a good exercise routine and a clean diet, it lessens the symptoms. So
Mhm.
it could be in your joint, but it doesn't hurt to the same degree. Once you're warm, once you've warmed up your body, the
Mhm.
arthritis pains go away.
Mhm. So what is it that you feel you get the most out of i- the routine that you have? And what is that routine a little bit, just because there's so many things available, right? So what do you do?
You know that metaphor where you take like a glass vase and you put rocks, you have to fill it completely. And so you put the big rocks in first, and then you add the pebbles and then the sand, and then it's completely full. So you want to always use the big rocks first. And the big rocks of this question are adequate exercise, meaning walking, moving, that 10,000 steps idea of having enough movement every day, and then lifting weights where you're doing resistance training. So you're picking heavy things up and putting heavy things down because that strengthens your muscles, pulls on your bones, makes your bones stay mineralized, makes you have better balance, less problems with joints because your muscles are all doing the work. You're not making your joints do the work. The third rock is getting adequate sleep. So really working on sleep hygiene. If you have trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep, there's a lot of literature and a lot of work out there. That'd be a whole other podcast how to do that. But that's something to monitor. And then also making sure that you have a good, healthy social life so that you're interacting with other people and you don't stay isolated too much. Those are the four real pillars, I think, of the first things you want to really look at to have a healthy mental health and physical health all the way into old age.
And so the first one is it's really walking and movement,
Right.
right? Yeah, and that's not that hard, you would think.
Right. It's the one most people are happy to do.
Right, exactly. On top of that, yeah.
Happy to do. They're happy to walk the dog, garden,
Oh,
golf, and do light housekeeping, all that kind of stuff. They're fine with that. It's the other part, the resistance training that has the most resistance.
so and when you say resistance training, a resistance against your own body weight or with weights?
I would say if you're a beginner, you want to start with body weight
Mhm.
and get comfortable with the movement, make sure that you're getting some good instruction so that you're using proper form, you're not rounding your shoulders and you're not swaying or standing with your back sway back, or you're standing correctly to do the different things. But then quickly you can progress into light weights, both free weights like dumbbells and then
Mhm.
resistance like bands or cables. And then there's also machines.
Mhm.
And here's the other piece to that. So women will say, especially, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to get bulky. I don't want to get big and muscular. I want to look like a woman. I don't want to look like a guy. Well, because of the way that we're wired hormonally and structurally and genetically, it is not possible unless you do extreme stimulation of those muscles and eat in a certain way to get really big. Just eating a healthy diet and lifting light weights is not going to do that. But what it will do is firm up your body so that you have a firmness. And this is the thing that has become my real topic of late is there are recent double-blind peer-reviewed research that has come out to say one of the most powerful non-pharmacological things you can do to preserve your cognition into old age, or if you have some beginning signs of a neurological disorder or a disease like Parkinson's or dementia, it will slow the progress, is resistance training. It's using your large muscle, your skeletal muscles, and really working with them, because the hormones and the enzymes and the chemical reaction that happens in your body is to heal, 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 heal. It's like you get a cut, your body right away wants to sew that little cut up. You know, you put a Band-Aid on it and the next day it's fine. That's
Mhm.
the body is programmed for that. Well, you don't just heal the muscles you worked, it affects the entire body. So all of that healing goes up here and also, and it helps to heal and helps to cleanse and helps to grow. It's called neurogenesis, helps to grow new brain cells. And there's now double-blind peer-reviewed research to back that up. So it's really an exciting time.
What would your life be like if you were pain-free? If you were one of the millions who suffer from chronic pain, the thought of just one day without it may seem impossible. This is often because conventional medicine tends to fall short in the treatment of pain, opting to prescribe pills or recommend surgery rather than getting to the root cause of the problem. But if you are suffering with emotional or physical pain, there is hope. Join the founder and CEO of Bowen College, Manon Bolliger, live online for your body-mind reboot. Learn how to listen to your symptoms and get to the root cause of your pain. Plus, be trained in basic Bowen therapy moves so that you can reboot your body for optimal health. You don't have to live in pain. You can heal. Stop the pain pill cycle by visiting www.yourbodymindreboot.com to learn more and to register.
I heard a metabolic doctor talking about this in a podcast not too long ago, and she coined it this way. The most powerful aging organ, that an anti-aging organ, is your skeletal muscle. It is a
Mhm.
longevity organ. And I never thought of my muscles as an organ, like your
Mhm.
stomach and your heart. It's an organ of longevity, your skeletal muscle. And it's true. I mean, I'm living proof of it, but I have clients who have some of those neurodegenerative diseases in the early stages. They
Mhm.
come to me and say, I just went to my doctor, and sure, I'm taking the light medication that I'm supposed to take right now, but he doesn't understand why I'm not getting worse.
Mhm. So, but do you think it's because the muscles also help the lymphatic system?
Yes.
It moves things, it helps you detox, right? And a lot
Yes.
of these diseases, it's in accumulation of toxicity.
Hmm.
So if you're moving and allowing things to go through you, you know,
Hmm.
you can eliminate them better. So it makes sense,
Yeah. Goes to the
oh,
cellular level.
exactly, yeah. What have you seen, or which neurodegenerative diseases in
Okay.
which, resistance has seemed to stall it, help it, improve it, whichever?
Right. The research says that all of the brain diseases are definitely affected, but in my own practice, it would be multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's are the two that I have worked with clients on. So that's what caused the question in my mind that made me start digging to find out, oh, this is bigger. This isn't just anecdotal on my part. How interesting that people who have a disease that gets worse they're getting worse much more slowly than what the doctor would expect based on a larger population. But they're also that what the studies say also dementia, Alzheimer's, Lewy body, they're all a big family of
Yeah.
neurodegenerative diseases.
It took you 6 months to kind of get moving, and you had a reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you tell people who, like the biggest excuse is, oh yeah, I'll walk tomorrow. It's a bit chilly today, or it's this, or it's raining, or, maybe I should get a dog. Or, oh, is it really going to make that much difference? So how do you help people get over the bazillion excuses that makes it hard to get out of your comfortable sofa and your house or your place?
It usually starts with what is immediately bothering them right then. You
Mhm.
start with the immediate problem of, I went on vacation and I had such a hard time keeping up with my tour group, and everybody had to keep waiting for me.
Okay.
Um, I I went to Italy and was walking on cobblestone streets, and several times I almost turned my ankle,
Mhm.
not having that stability. Or I was so excited to go visit my kids and my grandkids. My daughter has a new baby. It's now walking, and I bent down to grab it and pick it up, and I threw my back out. There's, I mean, it's usually some kind of real life thing. I work with people who are 50 and older. So it's no longer about having a bikini body. It's
Mhm.
about wanting to feel good in their skin and have the strength and the stamina to enjoy what they already enjoy. And so what I tell people is, you don't have to, join a CrossFit gym or do an Ironman or any of that stuff. What is it right now, this day? What is it that you love to do? What are the activities that you don't want to give up? Because as people get older, one of the biggest fears is of aging is having to give things up, having to lose your autonomy, lose your agency, lose the ability to be able to take care of yourself and have the freedom to enjoy what the world has to offer, whatever is your passion. And so whatever that is, that's the motivator. You love to golf.
Mhm.
How much do you love to golf? And how are you going to be able to do it when you're 80 if you don't do some things now to almost, train a little ahead of that,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It always seems to be the current thing you can't do, or
yeah,
afraid you will lose, it's true.
right. It's about making your future self happy.
Yeah,
So be happy now for sure,
yeah.
but about 10, 15, 20 years from now, and what kind of a life you want to live then. And if the things you're doing now are things you enjoy, then train
Mm.
for it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think. That's a good way to look at it. It's you're actually training for it,
Mhm.
because otherwise it will naturally become more difficult,
Yeah.
right? So you actually have to train upwards.
There's this wonderful thought person. There's a person out there, Dr. Peter Attia. He has a book called Outlive. It's the latest big volume. It's a big book. It's like Harry Potter, but it's all about aging well. And it's from a doctor, a thoracic surgeon's point of view. And also he's a fitness enthusiast himself. So he's kind of coming at it from the medical practitioner and also the person. Okay, so Dr. Peter Attia wrote a book called Outlive, and he is also a podcaster. And he talks about this set of exercises that he has his senior clients, patients do. And he calls it the Centenarian Olympics. And the reason he calls it that is because think about an Olympic athlete. We've just come through the Olympics and appreciated all these amazing, physical specimens. And they don't just, casually go to the gym. They train with that. I want to win that. And they're very focused and they train and train and train, sometimes decades as a child. So they have this vision of what they want in the Olympics. So if you turn that on its ear and think, if you live to be 100, what do you want to train for? What do you want? Do you want to be able to climb a flight of stairs? Do you want to be able to carry your own suitcase? Do you want to be able to pick up a toddler? Do you want to be able to swing a golf club? What is it that you want to be able to do? Ride horses, be able to go hiking, be able to just walk, be able to walk from your car to the store. What is it that you want to be able to do? It's the Centenarian Olympics. And so you're training for that right now. How's your training going?
Right. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so how many people that that you're starting with actually follow through, don't get taken out by their own excuses?
Oh, well, once I talk to them, they pretty much stick with me. I mean, the only reason somebody leaves or quits is not they don't just quit, but they move away, or sometimes they retire and go to a different town or move to a different. I live in a really big city, so they have to go to a different place. So, yeah, but once they start.
Right.
Once they start with me, they're pretty much all in because they understand that I'm living it. I'm a walking billboard for my
Yeah.
message, and I'm there for them. And I know what it feels like to be a senior citizen. I'm not a
Right.
little bouncy cheerleader saying, "Okay," no,
Exactly.
I'm old. I'm old, what people might call old. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, the living proof is always good.
yeah,
Yeah. It's the easiest way to get over belief systems where it's too complicated or too difficult or I'm not coordinated enough, all this stuff, right? Which
yeah,
if you
right.
do, it gets better. Yeah, so we have a couple more minutes. Any other message that you want to share to somebody who's going, oh, maybe me, maybe I could do this after all, what was
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that it's important to just take some time to visualize your life now and where you want to be and not be afraid. I mean, here we are as we get older, you become more, you have a better perspective on life. You certainly have the tools because what young people often don't have as much of is
Mhm,
patience, perspective,
mhm.
perseverance, how to face failure, how to face difficult tasks and get through it and get to the other side and look back and think, oh, I'm glad I did that. We have all this life experience.
Yeah.
So apply it to your own well-being and
Mhm.
realize, oh, I'm ready for a new adventure, the adventure of me. And I do have a couple of really important, they're kind of like slogans. Everybody knows me knows that I usually say this, and that is that I am here to rewrite the rules of aging. That's why I'm on this planet. And it's aging is inevitable, but decay is optional.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I never want to say like anti-aging because I'm not against it. It's
Yeah,
coming whether I'm against it or not.
exactly.
Instead, to embrace it,
Yeah.
enjoy it, and maximize on what it brings to you. Now that you have lived so much of life, what are you going to do with it? What is your pièce de résistance, as they say?
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Great statement. Well, thank you very much for sharing your enthusiasm, your transformation, with us. And I think there's a lot of people in, the age group of 45 to 70 that are listening. So
Yeah.
hopefully they will hear you if they're already doing it.
Awesome. Thank you.
All
Well,
right.
I'm so appreciative. It's really been nice to spend some time with you today.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us at the Healers Café. If you haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on, as I post a new podcast every Wednesday with tons of useful information and tips for natural healing that you won't want to miss.